Competition's getting fierce. We're not done with Techtober yet, squeaking into the last week of the month. TCL's got another announcement on an affordable phone, this time going to Verizon. We're gonna keep this video short and sweet, but allow me to introduce you to the TCL 10 5G UW. As you might have been able to glean from the product name, this is a variation on the TCL 10 with 5G support for Verizon. TCL dropped off this adorable reviewer's kit, which is another opportunity for me to speak directly to these manufacturers and say, I really wish you would sell some variation of this kit, which had a case and a face mask and some additional materials, a reviewer's guide. Sell some version of this for your consumers. Make it a limited edition, something that they can get their hands on as a complete package for their brand new phone. TCL has been an interesting company to watch this year, stepping out of the shadows as an ODM and now putting their label front and center on smartphones for consumers and focusing their smartphone journey at more affordable prices. It's kind of been the big theme of 2020, where some of our established players putting out those really nice, high quality premium options in the smartphone market haven't been performing as well as some of their mid-ranger counterparts. From playing with the TCL 10 Pro and the 10L, the 10 5G is an interesting combination of parts and pieces to arrive at a lower price but still support more expensive technologies. Like the other 10 series phones, the back is really pretty. In this case, it's got these faucets that look like jewels that kind of catch light at different angles for different rainbow color effects. I'm always happy to see a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor at any price point these days. I just think it's a little bit more ergonomic for when you're handling a phone, especially a slightly larger phone with the big old screen. A bright, vibrant display, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise because TCL is best known in North America for manufacturing TVs, and we still get these great next vision options to tune the display, make it as juicy as we want. And you know I'm gonna be happy when I see any phone that still has a headphone jack. A number of tech improvements on tap. We're talking 5G here, so we also see that processor get a bump up the food chain into Qualcomm's upper mid-range tier. That more powerful processor paired with the 5Gs means that we also need a decently sized battery to make sure this is an all-day player. At the time this video will be published, I've only had this phone for about a full day, so I don't have all of my granular charts and benchmarks and metrics and tests, but it's internal tech that's going to compete against more expensive players like an LG Velvet or a Galaxy A71. And that this is a specific variation of TCL's lineup for Verizon. Whenever I see a carrier branded phone, I always kind of dig through the app drawer to see what kinds of pre-installed value added software is included. And thankfully, most of it can be uninstalled, not just disabled, but removed from the phone. So firing it up on my first boot, I can take the phone from something like this to something like this. I kept on the Disney Plus because we really do subscribe to Disney Plus. You put all the parts and pieces together and you arrive at a phone that seems pretty solid, but what's really fun here, we're talking Verizon 5G, upper mid-range tier components, and a price of $399. A big ol' screen, the triple camera array, a decent amount of storage, a nice sized battery, that 5G radio, and we're talking a starting price of a base model iPhone SE, making this TCL the cheapest option Verizon has to get on their UW train. The processor's more powerful, the radio's more expensive, but this build feels a little bit more like the TCL 10L, where the 10 Pro has all that nice frosted glass or a curved OLED display and a more expensive camera sensor in the 64 megapixel range. But this phone has an LTE only option started at $450 earlier this year. I think this is exciting for two reasons. One, these are the types of phones that are going to help 5G adoption. You know, we're really going to be spreading through this mid-range tier to get these kinds of phones and solutions into more consumers' hands, which is going to encourage the carriers to better flesh out their 5G rollouts. And two, this is a nice iteration for the brand, TCL, stepping out of just being an ODM, the manufacturer behind other labels, and really putting their label forward on some interesting consumer solutions. That makes this TCL story a little like the classic classic golden age of HTC, moving from ODM to mainstream manufacturer. We want our pocket computers to do a little more. We want them to handle our daily driver communication tasks. And we want a little peace of mind that these purchases are still going to be future-proofed as carriers figure out what their network strategies are going to be. I'll definitely have some more to say about the TCL 10 5G UW in the coming weeks as I spend a little bit more time playing with it. I'm flying. Techtober has been crazy with just basically too many phones. So I've got some links down below this video where you can find more info on TCL phones, shop all of their other consumer electronics, TVs, speakers, etc., etc. And as always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. Supporting your favorite content creators has never been more critical than it is today. So I greatly appreciate those of you who really do look in the description down below, check out some of those links, check out my merch. Those kinds of things really do help keep production running on this channel. You can hit up SomeGadgetGuy.com. The support page on SomeGadgetGuy.com has a complete list of all of my affiliates and partnerships, or you might consider joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen. That's my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy, and those names are basically the coolest people on the internet. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the web, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. I did uninstall Facebook from the preloaded apps when I got this phone, and I will catch you all on the next video.